Hello, it's Karen Walker Brown, Moselle's first cousin, back with the last chapter review for the book Gut Reactions by Simon Quellen Field. I'm joining you today from an undisclosed location in my home office to wrap up the book with a review of chapter 11 entitled Remedies. Merriam-Webster defines a remedy as the legal means to recover a right or to prevent or obtain redress for a wrong, a medicine, application, or treatment that relieves or cures a disease, or something that corrects or counteracts. In this chapter, Simon Quellen Field talks about treatments and medicines and things that correct obesity, and these tips can perhaps prevent obesity if done consistently. You just don't have to go to court to do so. Some of the first diet remedies the author mentioned are somewhat obvious, such as reducing or eliminating sugar and agave nectar, flour, including wheat flour, because it digests into glucose, increasing fiber by including green leafy veggies, fruits, legumes such as beans, peas, and lentils, and cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli and cauliflower. Of course, the darker the produce, the more fiber. Here's one thing I didn't know, that sweet potatoes and russet and red potatoes are better if eaten cold after a night in the fridge, because that allows the amylose starch to crystallize and become resistant starch, and that acts more like fiber. And remember, when you're eating fiber, that we need to get lots of water, since fiber absorbs the water and it stays in the stomach longer. And speaking of water, drink lots of it. We typically can't determine whether we're hungry or we're thirsty, and we often eat when we should be drinking. So eating when we're not hungry is a common route to obesity. The following things were talked about in the chapter that can have an effect on the food you eat and on your body, such as calcium. When we have a lack of calcium, that makes people hungry for calcium-rich foods, which then makes it harder to stick to a reduced calorie diet. You also have curcumin, which is that yellow dye in the turmeric spice. That particular spice helps to reduce obesity, and that's related to inflammation, and it can help treat diabetes. And that's a safe and inexpensive way that we can help control obesity and some related metabolic diseases. Capsaicin is an active component in chili peppers, and it can activate the brown and beige fat and help to burn those calories for heat. And this helps speed up digestion, and it inhibits fat formation. So not only can you eat them, but you can also use them topically in a cream form. It was tested on those mice we talked about a few chapters ago. He talked about how even sweet peppers have the same molecule and can have the same effect as the chili peppers, but without the heat. He also mentioned that taking vinegar with food has long been known to reduce your blood sugar, and especially after a meal, and that can cause our stomach to empty slower, which gives the carbs time to be slowly digested and absorbed, making you feel full longer, and it can also help to reduce that insulin resistance. Other remedies that were discussed in this chapter were the use of drugs such as aspirin, which is anti-inflammatory, and or hormone therapy such as thyroid hormone. And by reducing chronic inflammation, we know that not only provides health benefits throughout your body, but it also helps to reduce obesity. The author also included caffeine in the section on drugs. Caffeine raises adiponectin levels in the blood, And remember, adiponectin is a hormone that your fat tissues or adipose tissue releases that helps with insulin sensitivity and inflammation. And if you have low levels of adiponectin, that's associated with several conditions such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, and atherosclerosis. Caffeine can also reduce your blood cholesterol levels and improve glucose metabolism. Then there's the good old psychological remedies that he talked about in the book. You know, don't eat when you're not hungry. Simon Quellen Fields then decided to throw in some lifestyle remedies, such as getting more exercise and finding fun things to do to get you moving around, away from food. He talked about skipping a meal, or 2, or 3, or 4. Remember, we talked about how much you could lose in a year just by fasting 1 day a week. And stop eating between meals, and because that gives your body a few hours of low insulin levels. Drink some water. Give your body time to realize you have eaten enough and stop shoveling the food in there like there's no tomorrow. In other words, slow down while you're eating. He also mentioned the social remedies to control what we eat in social settings, such as at parties or at social gatherings, or even at the movies. Think about these things before you go and have a game plan for success. So this book ends with a few of the vicious circles that were mentioned in the book to remind you that obesity has harmful effects on other systems within our bodies, and then that impacts the obesity, which is then amplifying the original issue. For example, stress, depression, and poor sleep can lead to obesity. And the obesity can then cause more stress, depression, and poor sleep. It's a vicious cycle. None of the tips in this book are a magic ingredient to make you thin. But knowledge is power, and with increased knowledge of how the human body works and how it reacts to food, exercise, nutrition, and environment, we are now armed with the information we need to make small, incremental changes that can result in big changes over time. And if you believe you can, you will. Once you finish this book, you'll have the scientific information on how your metabolism or gut microbiome impacts you. It's been a pleasure for me to review the chapters of the book, Gut Reactions by chemist Simon Quellen Fields. I want to give a special shout out to my 12-year-old grandson for the original background music. Blessings and good health to each of you.